That's the area I was coming to. Why is it that politicians and their followers, they find it so hard or difficult to understand that when results are announced, you have an alternative means for redress? Why aren't they patient enough to seek that avenue instead of this mayhem we have seen in a couple of states?
Well, most Nigerian politicians, with all due respect, they call themselves Democrats, but they've not imbibed the tenets of democracy. You know, election is a process. It's a long, winding process. And you cannot start by saying, oh, because the first step that has been taken, for instance, at accreditation stage, you start complaining and you say, because of that, all other processes should not follow. I find it so hard to believe that somebody who is educated, who has been part of the process, who had always benefited from the process, to say, no, we won't take the next step. It is not, you are not alone, I mean, in your anguish. It is a very sad thing for us to see politicians saying no. I mean, like yesterday, I was watching channels, and there was a panel of discussants, and one of the discussants said something. Incidentally, he's a colleague, and he said, well, INEC should not say, well, if you are aggrieved, go to the tribunal. That INEC can do better than that. Can do better than what? As it stands, INEC is seemingly overwhelmed by the shenanigans of our politicians. Everything that INEC has done to make this process flawless, everything the international community has done to make it flawless, has virtually fallen on deaf ears of the politicians. You now say INEC should stop using all that the law says it can do, which is administrative, to see that the process is purified. You say, no, they can do more than that. You can't say go to the tribunal. What will INEC do? Will INEC start empaneling judges to listen to complaints? If INEC has said, look, I've done my best, I cannot cancel or I can conduct elections here and there, and if you are still not satisfied with what INEC has done, then it stops here. Go to the next level of the process, which is court. Why are you afraid of going to court? Then somebody says, you see, the reason why they are afraid of going to court, you know, the problems they face, I mean, the problem of proving the case. Well, it's a standard that has been set. It's a law. The Electoral Act is a law. The only way you can change that, you can remove that burden, is to amend the law. And we are still in that process. New persons have been elected into the National Assembly. If you feel that, look, the burden of proof, the onus should not be on this person, it should be here. The burden is too heavy. It should be a situation of where somebody complains, INEC, the burden should shift on INEC to prove it. Then you have to go and amend the law. But when you say INEC, oh, INEC is not doing enough, I believe that with regards to these elections, I mean, INEC has done creditably well, given the circumstances, given the kind of people we are. INEC has done well.
Well, excuse me. I'm trying to also look at the outcome of this election, talking about the dominoes effect. You know, some have argued that perhaps we should go back to an era where we can start the elections from the grassroots to the top and see how that pans out. Looking at it as it stands now, we started from the National Assembly and the presidential election. And it would seem as if sometimes the electorates are swayed by the votes garnered at that particular election. Would you advise the incoming assembly to see if they can help, or if can they rejig the Electoral Act and see if they can touch up the timetable of the election and say, okay, now wait a minute, let's start from the grassroots?
Now, number one, I don't want to take anything away from the presidential elections. I think, honestly speaking, Nigerians wanted a change, and I'm not speaking for APC. I mean, I'm not sympathetic to the two major political parties, but I think at some point in time, majority of Nigerians decided that, look, we just want a change. No matter what, let's just have a change of personnel, and that's what I keep saying, that the reasons why APC wanted change, why PDP was against change, why Nigerians wanted change, why the man in the north wants change and the man in the southeast, south and southwest wanted, they are totally different. So the presidential elections have come and gone. I think nothing can be taken away from it. The people voted. No, nothing could have changed it. But I agree with you and majority of people who are saying, look, why don't we move from the specific to the general? As it's not even from House of Assembly. Let us start with the councillorship, the lowest rung of the political ladder. Let us begin the process from there, and let it be a process that involves an independent umpire like INEC. Let it not be a state federal thing. Let INEC be INEC, and let INEC in each of the states, not state independent electoral commission, because all those bodies are open to a lot of compromise. Let it start from Dr. Adedeji. He was here and he talked about that man. There's no need. You see, when you see something good, let us elevate it. Let us announce it to the world. Let us use that as a model for everybody to copy. That man in Mushin that won that election, I probably will not mention his name, but he crossed over from APC because he lost the primary election. He felt aggrieved.
We're safe to mention
exactly.
His name. He's an example. He's won the elections.
He's a rare breed. He didn't just start politics. No. Dr. Adedeji said, knowing that he had been a politician, a grassroots politician for years. And he had been driving that school bus for years. He had been doing it for years. These are the kind of politicians that even channels should bring into focus for Nigerians to copy from, for Nigerians to start knowing that when what you sow, you will reap. Now, that man can never lose an election in that community. He has never lost. So irrespective of platform, he will win. That takes me to the question. Let us start from the lowest level of the rung. Let's start from the councillorship. Today, most people don't know who they are voting for, even to go and represent them at the state houses of assembly. They don't know their names. They don't know their pedigree. They don't have any background information on them. They are just voting party. Except maybe in Lagos, for instance, the actors, the actresses, those who came out. Most people don't know them. So when we start from that level, the domino effect will always be there. When, for instance, people vote those they know, then the big shots at the state level, the local government level, they take a cue from there that, if this man can win, well, I think we have to change something. Then you go to the state, then you go to the regions, and you go to the federal. And that way, you will see that the whole thing will pan out positively, because the Nigerian people the names will be so prominent, loom large in their estimation.
Well, very quickly before we go, our guest that should have made it here to look at the Chibok girls just couldn't make it. Before we go, in commemoration of the Chibok girls, this is 365 days, exactly 1 year ago since we last saw them. What would you like to see from the government before May 29? And if possible, if nothing miraculous is done, what would you love to see from the incoming government?
First of all, the elections are over. Let us begin to appreciate that the problem we've had with the missing Chibok girls is not a personal issue. It's not a Jonathan issue. It's not a PDP issue. It's a Nigerian issue. Let us also begin to, people should investigate. In the papers, it was reported today that, since 2014, over 2,000 girls had been kidnapped. What the information I have on good authority from some pastors who had pastored churches there is that it's something that had been happening for decades. Girls, particularly Christian girls, kidnapped, and nobody would help. It didn't just start in 2013, 2014, or 2015. This is a problem that's a recurring decimal in that part of Nigeria. And it was because government at state and federal and local level did not see it as a problem what their attention. It escalated into insurgency. So when we take it from that perspective, we also take it to the next level. Let us not personalize. Thank God Jonathan is going out now. General Buhari is coming in. If we had said, oh, Jonathan did not perform already, the incoming president has said, look, if they are alive, we will get them. Let us all cooperate with the incoming administration. Let's not make it a party affair like it was made. I felt bad with the way Nigerians got divided and decided saying it's about President Jonathan. It wasn't. It shouldn't. The change that we are talking about should begin now. And if we can use the Chibok girls as a litmus test, I pray to God that they are still alive. If they are alive, I also pray to God that the incoming administration will be able to get them back alive.
Well, John Olodi, many thanks for coming. He's a lawyer. Well, Sunrise, so let's take some moment and we'll return shortly. Stay with us.